All right, Leo partner. So first of all, I think I said this in a couple of videos. I like Leo energy a lot. I have Leo energy in 2 of my personal planets. My father was a Leo. I have a lot of Leo, associates. So I like Leo energy. All right. With that said, I'm just going to give the honest truth about Leo as a partner, right? And so first of all, the first thing that's going to stand out is like, one, if Leo chose you to be their partner, they are going to probably be pretty generous. Like Leos are very open. They tend to be very generous with their money and their time. They're not really cheapskates. They want to show you a good time, and they also might want to show you off. And so, if you are someone with a Leo, understand like Leo wants to stand out, even if they don't really show they want to stand out. Like they're not the type of Leos that come in and like, look at me, look what I'm wearing. Leo likes to dress nicely. Now you have to understand the differences between why Libra might do it because of a little bit of vanity. Libra is a sign associated with beauty, and whether you're a man or female or whatever, male, female, woman, man, no matter what you are, like there's a thing to that Libra energy of liking what they look like. They like what they look like. A lot of them. A lot of Libras sometimes will admire themselves. Where you'll have Virgo who cares about what they look like because of, a little bit of self-consciousness. So a Virgo or a Virgo rising person might be very critical about what they're wearing. Oh, I gotta wear this. Okay, I don't know if I should wear that. Look at those shoes. Those shoes don't go right with that. That color doesn't go right. That's a different reason why Virgo cares about what they're wearing, right? It's different. And Leo, it's about, I want to shine. And it might not even be like, I think, vanity. It might just be like, I need to look good. I need to look good when I go out. And if you're their partner, they're going to want you to look good too. And so I think it's not necessarily an idea of shallowness, though. For some people, it could be a little bit of ego where Leo partners care with their person. Everybody cares about looks to some degree. But Leo partners going to want you to look good, right? And so to match. So, if they work out, they might want you to work out. Or they might want a partner who, presents themselves well. And so that's one thing you might notice with Leo. And I don't think it's also always vanity or not like a Libra situation. And I'm not saying anything negative about Libras. Libras are also very intellectual. Libras are an air sign. So I'm not saying, but if you know Libras ruled by Venus, you're going to understand what I'm talking about. All right, so that's a whole different thing. I'll talk about Libra later, but I'm just giving some comparisons for you to understand how astrology energy works with different signs. If you're with a Leo partner, married, engaged, in a relationship, or you like a Leo, whatever the case is, be prepared to have some kids. Here's why I say this. Leo is ruled by the sun, and the sun is associated with the 5th house. If you look at astrology wheel, if you're like, I don't know what you're talking about, go to my website. The link is in the description box. And I have a breakdown of the houses in astrology, what the 5th house is, and some other things. But basically, the 5th house in astrology, well, there's 12 houses. The 5th house is the house ruled by the sun. It's about fun, dating, hobbies, children. So 5th house is associated with like fun, things that are considered fun, right? And so a lot of Leo people have children, either a lot of children or children are central in their life. So you might not actually have children. Leo person might just maybe raise children. Maybe they're a foster parent, or maybe they work in a field where they are around children. But usually the Leo person or they might be a person who cares for their nieces and nephews, or they're there a lot for their nieces and nephews if they're not, helping raise them, but they're very involved in their lives. So that's why I said like Leo people tend to have children. Children are important to many Leo energy people. And so typically if you're in a relationship with them, kids are probably going to come up at some point. You're going to notice they're really good with kids. A lot of Leos are really good with kids. A lot of Leos have that very optimistic childlike, that very positive, like childlike, not demeanor, but like this kind of energy, right? So like being happy is something that Leos are not, they're not afraid to show happiness. They don't see it as a vulnerability. You might have certain signs, Scorpio, Virgo, Capricorn, like some signs just view being expressive as vulnerable. And some signs, Leo doesn't do that. Leo's open. But you do have to understand with Leo person does come a little bit of some egotism. Now, Leo, again, likes to look good. And so sometimes they won't listen. Now, remember, they're fixed fire. So Leo can go in a direction and you're like, wait, Leo, what about this? And Leo's like, I like my idea. I'm going to go do it. So they're not the most receptive sign when it comes to listening to others, right? Because a lot of times they have their own direction, and a lot of what they do is built on their ability to shine, their ability to stand out, their ability to showcase what they're good at. Sometimes though, some partners of Leo, you have to kind of be willing to take a back seat, because a lot of Leos want to transcend in whatever they're good at. So whether it's a career or something like that, you look at like, and by backseat, I don't mean you have to sacrifice your goals. For instance, Michelle Obama, I believe she's a Capricorn. So of course she's a Capricorn woman. She is not going to sacrifice her goals. She did not. But Obama, right? Barack Obama obviously became president after, his career progressed and he was able to get to the point where he could run. So that's what I mean. Like a Leo sun person, I'm not saying they're all going to be president of the United States, but a Leo person is usually in some way going to shine, especially in whatever it is they do. So maybe it's not their job, maybe it's their hobby, maybe they're a musician. Well, they're usually going to ascend in that field, because any field that you care about, you're going to exude that energy. And if your sun is in Leo, also look at what placement. If your partner, what house is the sun in? Right? The sun is in the 10th house. Of course, their career is going to be super important because it's in the 10th house of career. If the sun is in the 6th house, they might overwork. Work might take, because they might be so looked upon as a leader at work. Leo is also known as a leader. So that's why they don't mind leading their families. They don't mind, a lot of them, kind of leading the way. Sometimes that can cause issues in power struggles in certain relationships. If your partner wants to lead or wants to make some decisions because they're like, they're naturally born leaders. Sometimes, and they take pride in that. They take pride in providing or being the person who they feel can lead. And so that can be a problem. There can be some pride issues. There can be some ego issues in certain relationships. I don't think certain astrological signs work well with other signs all the time, right? So you can sometimes be like, wait, this Leo person is great. Like everybody likes them, but our relationship didn't work. Well, it could be you're energetically, it wasn't going to work, right? And you two couldn't compromise on who was the lead. Like I said, in some relationships, you might have to sometimes kind of take a back seat to that Leo's ambitions and that Leo's need to shine. I'm not saying all the time. The good thing about that is whatever they have, they're going to give to you. This is not a really stingy sign. This is not a person who's like, well, I got mine, you got to get yours. Leo also likes to share with their friends and family. That can be an issue if you're in an actual cohabitating relationship with your Leo or in a marriage with your Leo, because yes, they're gonna usually be the kind that wants to send their money back home to their parents or their mom or take care. And there's nothing wrong with that. But some people have issues with that. Like, oh, you're taking money out of the household and you're giving it, again, I'm not judging what you do or don't do, but I'm saying like that can sometimes cause friction in some of these marriages or relationships with Leo. In general, Leo's very loyal to who they care about. So I think like in terms of loyalty, a lot of them tend to be loyal. Now, again, if you have the type of Leo person who needs too much attention, that can be an issue. If they're seeking attention at any cost, that can be an issue. But I find that's more problematic when you have like a certain placement or maybe Moon and Leo or something like that. Again, it depends on the whole chart. Leo, the negative side to Leo is when they do, remember I said they can have some of that childlike optimism. But sometimes there could be that behaving like a child. Here's when a Leo will do that. Because you're usually not going to see it. You're like, Leo is cool. They're charming. They're charismatic. Typically, you don't see it. But here's when you'll see it. A lot of people think Aries is the baby. Aries is the baby. Aries gives a tantrum. Aries thinks that, and I'm going to do Aries video soon. A lot of Aries energy people, there is kind of like this me, what about me? And they put themselves first. With Leo, it's different. If they overreact or they get upset, it's usually because like they're not getting enough attention or you're downplaying their importance. Whereas Aries can do that, but still like Aries can get upset, but then go off on their own because they're more independent sign. They're more independent. Leo thrives off who's around them, their social connections, their family, all those different things. Like Leo thrives off the people around them. And so that's where you'll have those issues where you'll see Leo kind of not something you'll typically see, but be like really upset, angry, kind of self-indulgent or egotistical. Like, well, I'm the only one around here making money, or I'm the only one around here doing this, or and you'll see that. And it's a different type of anger than you'll see in like a different fire sign, right? Because Sagittarius is going to use their words, but Leo is going to be more hurt from the ego, right? Whereas Aries is probably just going to be very self-indulgent, you know, on the negative side, they can that what can come out when people are angry. With Aries, it's the selfishness. But again, a lot of people can be selfish. I'm not just saying the sign, but I'm saying that can sometimes come out. With Leo, it's pride. Do you see what I'm saying? It's their pride is wounded. And so then they're going to overreact or react in a way that you're like, where is this coming from? Again, especially if you don't like Leo's ideas, you know, because Leo is a very prideful sign. And a lot of times we forget that because we get usually this positive energy from Leo. But you do have to understand like there's a certain type of way they view themselves. Okay. But that's basically it for that. Please visit my website, www.amethystvirgo.com. Follow me on Instagram, Amethyst Virgo, and like my Instagram, my Facebook page, Amethyst Virgo Astrology. Thank you for watching.